All right. So I finally got this to work. It's my first uh, streaming video that I've done. And so I've been on YouTube for a year, roughly, as far as really trying. And I just had some thoughts. And anyway, it's been interesting to kind of figure this out and navigate it. And it's far more challenging than I ever thought it would be as far as it's a lot of work. So I guess my thoughts are, uh, after doing this for a while, that it's really hard to create great content that people are drawn to when it comes to playing music, and it takes a long time to build. Um, an audience as I'm seeing, because a year in, I'm basically at 145 subscribers. So I've had some cool little blips that were, um, some videos that went, I wouldn't say viral, but, get a lot of views and still do. So in a way, I always kind of keep this in perspective in the sense of like, when I look to other channels and I see that they obviously have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and millions of views, that most likely they kind of started where a lot of us are, which is not a lot of people uh, subscribing and not a lot of people interacting with the channel. And I get it because I realize you really do have to figure out who you're trying to appeal to and and get better at it. And that is challenging to talk. And half the reason I guess I should back up. And a lot of the reason why I started this was simply to get better at something that I would never think I'd be good at, which is trying to present really personal things like your own music or views on records or gear or whatever. The gear I'm not so caught up on, but it is interesting that all the videos I do with the J Mascis Jazzmaster, the Squire version, have been pretty popular and still to this day um, get quite a few hits every day or views. Sorry, and so I find that cool, and that was not expected. I bought that guitar because I thought it looked great, and all my other guitars are like a Strat, Paul Reed Smith, and I had nothing with P90s um, in my stable of guitars, which is a total of four. But anyway, so with this channel, I think I've been really trying to talk about a lot of music that I love, a lot of great guitar players. I'm a huge metal fan, but um, extreme metal mostly. And so I probably will try to talk about that more down the road, maybe. But there's so many people that do that already and understand the genre way more than I do and have more bandwidth for it than I. So I guess what I'm talking about is a lot of great guitar players and great music that I know from the past, and trying to share that with maybe people that don't know who um, Mark Rebo is or haven't really listened to Captain Beefheart and all the great guitar players that have been in his band. And Raul Bjorkenheim. Obviously, I'm a huge Robert Fripp fan, so a lot of what I do is like some of those kind of Frippertronic, uh, like uh, ambient pieces. I do a ton of that stuff, and I've been trying to merge that with some of the art I do, and that's been really fun. And so, yeah, I don't know exactly where to take it from here. It has definitely gotten to the point where after a year, I didn't think I'd be highly successful. But I guess if you're measuring yourself against others to some degree, I think the content's okay. I'm getting better at all of that. And like doing the reviews is really fun. And I've watched a lot of stuff where there's a lot of edits, and that just drives me crazy. I just rather someone um, talk and make mistakes or whatever. And I really thought when I started doing the reviews, I would really drill down into like the equipment they used. And I realized, you know, I am not a script reader, unfortunately, and I can't, just keeping all those details would be way too much for me to handle. But that was kind of the intent, was to talk more about kind of what kind of gear they kind of used, and be maybe not so specific about the general terms of the songs or whatever, but maybe talk about some highlights and all of that. And to be honest, I guess as you get better and get more like clear and succinct in what you're saying, I think that's what I want to try to get to. It's like do these reviews of stuff that maybe take 10 minutes or whatever, and get to kind of some of the highlights and talk about the gear. And I really am passionate about guitar, and I've been playing for a really long time. And over the last year and a half, being at home and having the luxury of being able to play a lot of guitar and work on things, I've completed a couple of records and lots of friendships. And now, as we're on the verge of, well, we're closing back down in this area, but starting to play with people. I just kind of starting really simple and coming up with a bunch of tunes, and the idea of playing out seems really daunting still, but hopefully soon that will happen. Um, so that is my hope with this channel. I hope to build it even more, and I think I have a lot of content for a while, and I hope that kind of builds to some degree. I think if it were to maintain at the level it's at, as far as growth, that I couldn't do another year of this and probably have, um, you know, if I had 1,000, I guess that would be okay. That's a good start. And but the amount of work it's taking has really been interesting. And I hear people say that a lot, like be prepared to really work hard. And I could definitely work harder on it. But I also want to play guitar and paint and do things that have nothing to do with this. Um, and some of the ridiculous parts of it that I think I look to people that are really successful at it. And I also think, it's a job, and I'm sure there's, like any job, great and amazing moments, and then really the drudgery of, what is the video I'll do this week? Or, I can't imagine in a way having a lot of followers and then doing something wrong or not interesting and then losing them, because I know at basically under 200 followers, I've had a few instances where I lost 3 or 4 in a day just once, but it was like that's basically, what is that? A couple of percent drop, and that's really kind of, you know, deflating. And I think with social media, it's so easy to get kinda caught up in, like, all of that, and even as an old guy, um, why else would I be doing this if I didn't want some kind of notoriety or something? I don't know. But so yeah, we'll see what the next year looks like, and I hope to keep building on some of this and refine it. And I think I'm going to have far a lot less time. That's the other consideration is, um, yeah, just setting everything up. And luckily, I have a kind of an office to kind of keep it mostly set up. But I've done a couple of things where I was trying to use Logic and film, and then obviously merge those like you traditionally would do with audio and visual, and really not great results for the amount of work it got put into it. So I think the number one thing I see with doing these videos that can be a huge trap is the amount of money you spend on stuff. And I bought some lights. I use my iPhone. I thought about getting a camera at some point, like a nicer SLR, because you could use that for lots of stuff. Obviously, taking pictures and all of that. And I thought that'd be kind of fun. But the amount of investment of like, $1,000 or maybe less, but with lenses and all of that, quite a bit more. It just seems like, you know, what are you trying to do and why? And so if I can get away with it with my iPhone, that's what I'm going to do. And now that I've done a live stream with my computer, I'm not sure what else I would have to say, but uh, I guess they say this is the one way to grow your audience. I don't know about that, but um, that and cry. I should cry more. I don't know. And it's pretty funny that I'm talking basically to myself while I'm doing this. But anyway, anyone that watches this far into it, I appreciate it. Anyone that comments on anything, I, you know, I guess what I was saying about people that have a lot of followers is, you know, it takes a lot of time to interact with people when you have that many people sending, messages or commenting on stuff. And that's ultimately kind of loses the whole focus of doing something is, the amount of stuff that you'd have to answer. And so I think success has its downfalls as well, as we all probably know. Uh, so what I guess I'm going to continue doing on this channel is like small little music excerpts of things. And unfortunately, I don't have a band at the moment, but I post stuff that I did with previous bands in the Pacific Northwest playing live and all of that. And I don't know, it's all just guitar solo shit. So I guess if you like it, cool. If you don't, then I don't know what to say. But um, with the amount of high production values that I see on a lot of channels, it's kind of hard to compete with that. And um, I'm not trying to, but it's definitely makes you jealous when you see how well someone's put together, how great of a player they are, how handsome they are or she, um, and in a way, it's very predictable what people want to watch, and then in a way, it's not as far as what can take off. And that's what I've seen with my channel. Things that I thought were okay or kind of neat or whatever, just something to do, had far more views than a couple of the things that I worked on. I did kind of a long series when I first started doing this, a long series of videos about some ridiculous story I had written. And so I just did little chapters or whatever with a narrative kind of uh, typed into it. So if anyone read it, which funny, some people did, they were really uh, um, didn't know what to think of it, which is kind of great. So for my first live stream, I don't think there's no one there's no one watching, so I just probably will keep it quick. But yeah, I appreciate anyone that's watching. I love the comments, and I interact a lot with other people, so I always appreciate whatever the comments are, or thoughts, and trying to stay positive. And there's always, the one person, no matter who you are, there's always one person that has to give a thumbs down, which I guess as far as YouTube's concerned, that's a plus, no matter what the comment or interaction is. I could be wrong. But yeah, I think I'll still do what I'm doing. As far as gear stuff, I'm kind of done acquiring stuff. And the only other thing I would say is that what I learned getting into this is as far as your computer, whatever it is, a Windows machine or like a Mac, is buy more than you think you need. And that was the mistake I made because I bought a Pro Mac that had a very small hard drive comparatively and an older processor because I saved $200. And in hindsight now, with doing videos and recording with Logic, I've kind of run out of room on my hard drive. I've got obviously a external terabyte hard drive that I can save everything to once it's done, but it's just kind of pretty frustrating. And and I didn't have enough RAM. So 8 gigs of RAM, probably the bare minimum, depending on what you're doing. I'm considering Logic and doing film editing and all of that. You need more than that. If not, whatever. So I traded a computer in, the one I'm using now, to get a couple levels up, which is like 16 gigs of RAM, and then like a 500 gig, 512, whatever it is, gigabyte hard drive. And so I feel like that's a great place to be, and a faster processor too. So that's a good place to be going forward. So um, anyway, this is very rambling, and again, and I guess the another one the other thing I was trying to get at, I guess, was that I did this to kind of get over like the fear of talking to people, and um, as a performer, I've always struggled with that. You know, part of it, like definitely talking, I might introduce my band or whatever, but having really letting who I am out was always seemed so scary or whatever. And so doing this is really putting yourself out there potentially for a lot of negative feedback as well as positive. And that can be pretty hard to take. And I've gotten some, and like I said, I'm pretty much at the bottom. So um, anyway, I hopefully this gets through to some of you, and I look forward to doing more videos and more content. And I think concentrating on like the J Mascis Jazz Master seems to be popular. I think that's really cool that's a guitar that specifically that model is so popular, and it makes me want to kind of step up and buy a nicer one down the road. Like I'm not sure what models they are, but there's some Fender has some like the next tier. I can't remember what all those tiers are called, but those look great. And also trying out what I really would like to try is like a Nash or um, there's some other cool Fender variations. I saw this it was like a Stratocaster Jazzmaster on the Chicago Music, um, whatever that company's called. I'm forgetting the last word. And all single coils, like Strat single coils, and kind of a horizontal slider, like 5 positions sliders, pickup switch, and just really cool color. They're like 2,500 bucks or something like that. A little much. So anyway, thanks for anyone that watches this in the future. And I hope to hold myself to whatever I said, the amount of nonsense over the last 18 minutes. So we'll see what this all shapes up like. Anyway, have a great day. Thanks for watching. And keep watching my videos. Please subscribe, ring the bell, whatever that shit means. And I appreciate it. Thanks. Have a great day.